Welcome to the second video in the JA Career Speaker Series, brought to you by a collaboration between Junior Achievement of Southern Massachusetts and the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center. This Career Speaker Series video features Meditech, a global healthcare technology company that operates in Fall River, Massachusetts. We're very grateful to Meditech and their employees for joining us, and we hope you all enjoy learning about these exciting career opportunities.
Hi, everybody. Jeff Pelletier here from Junior Achievement of Southern Massachusetts. So great to be with you all here today virtually, and really grateful that you are viewing another video here in our series of career videos. And we've got a really exciting conversation for you today with the team from Meditech, a phenomenal local company who is doing important work always, but especially for everything that's happening in our world right now. And we've got an outstanding set of professionals here with us today to tell us a little bit about their roles at Meditech and the company itself, and also to give you some things to be thinking about as you think about your career journey.
My name is Bryson Macy. I am a senior recruiter at Meditech, and I've been at the company for 9.5 years.
My name is Caitlin Sabatini. I'm a lead software developer here at Meditech with the laboratory applications, and I've been with the company for 12 years.
My name is Laurel Wilmore. I'm a marketing consultant as well as a nursing specialist with Meditech, and I've been here for just about 2 years.
Ruben Bailey, he, him, his pronouns. I'm an implementation specialist who's been around for 4.5 years with the company.
Thanks again, everyone, for being with us here today. We're really excited for what you have to share with all the students here.
Meditech was founded in 1969, and we are an electronic health records vendor. So we supply and support medical software, and we automate the entire continuum of care. But what does that mean? So when let's say you get injured, you injure your arm and you think that you may have broken it, you go to the ER and the nurse will enter all your demographic, any kind of allergies, what you're presenting with, that's the admission software. Then you'll get an X-ray of your arm, and that is the radiology application, just one of our many clinical applications that we provide here at Meditech. And then after that, the hospital needs to be paid for those services. So that's when the billing and financial applications come together. So we are present in 2,300 facilities worldwide. You can find the Meditech software in Ireland, Australia, Puerto Rico, Singapore, Botswana, just to name a few. 2 in 5 hospitals in Canada use our software, and 1 in 4 in the US. So you may have actually even seen the software without realizing it. We promote entirely from within, so everyone has to earn their stripes in order to work their way up. And we have 3,500 employees at the company throughout our 4 states. So Massachusetts, Atlanta, Minnesota, and Texas. And essentially, the mission is to build a world where patients are able to access their health records anywhere and also take an active role in their healthcare. In addition to that, we are working with the physicians who are using the software in order for them to be able to deliver quicker and safer care using our cutting edge technology. So as a senior recruiter, every day is different because we are all tasked with knowing every aspect of the recruiting process. So every single one of us is able to code resumes. When someone submits their resume, we try and match them up where we feel as though they may be best suited. We could be calling and checking in with some people that have applied. So reaching out to them to start the initial contact and see if they're a good fit to potentially bring in for an interview. We are interviewing folks. And of course, again, we have to know how to interview all types of folks. So in the morning, I could be interviewing a developer. In the afternoon, I could be interviewing a marketing support specialist. And we're doing evaluations. We're forwarding the folks that we interview on to hiring groups. The real thing is building the connection with the hiring groups to find the right people for their fit and what exactly they're looking for. What is it that they're missing that we can find out there to fill that hole for them? Let's see, that's when we're in the office, also preparing offers and putting those together and extending those offers and getting people ready to be onboarded. But We also go out to a lot of career events. So we represent the company at, we'll do mock interviews sometimes with schools. We go to career fairs. We go to just panel where we talk a little bit about how we got with the company. One of my favorite things is we go to schools and we're a partner and employer in residence. And we're able to have office hours and just chat with the students a little bit to prepare them for what they could encounter on an interview by asking them questions or going through and critiquing their resume or helping them write a cover letter. So that's what I really enjoy, is being able to help the students kind of fine tune those skills that you can't necessarily get in a class. So that's really fun to be able to help them do that. We basically do the whole soup to nuts at the company. We develop the software, we test the software, we train hospital staff on the software, we market the software, we sell the software. Everything is done in-house. We support the software. Because of that, we have such a wide range of positions. Client support specialist, which is actually the role I started off in. I did that for about 2.5 years. And it's someone who just supports the software daily. Any kind of issues, glitches, you're putting in patches and just working with the programming staff to make sure that everything's functioning as it should. There's software testers, like I said, developers, programmers, who are creating enhancements to our existing software, rolling out additions to any new software. We take a lot of the feedback from the nurses and physicians who are using our software, so they need to take that idea and make it to come to fruition. What's great is because of that wide variety of positions, we are looking for a wide variety of experience. Over the years, the software has definitely become a lot more specialized. So the applicant that we're looking for has definitely evolved into maybe someone that does have a lot more clinical exposure, some nursing, some pharmacy experience, working in a physician's practice, or financial, like I said, to support those financial applications, accounting, economics, technical math, computer science majors, certainly anyone like that is definitely what we look for, but we'll also take general folks. I myself am a dance and theater major. So the fact that I am working here at Meditech and I love what I do is just a crazy career story. But in general, it's really just, do you have the customer service skills? That's really big. You do have to have really solid communication skills in any of our roles, both written and verbal. You have to have that willingness and that want to learn, and to be able to ask questions a lot when you're first starting out, because it's tough when you're first starting off at the company. There's a lot to absorb. There's a lot to learn, and we're going to do everything we can, but you also have to vocalize what it is that you need help on. So, and just researching and troubleshooting, having any of those, customer service troubleshooting skills, very, very helpful. We are willing to train if you're willing to learn. That's one of the big things at Meditech. So what I would say to students is that it's really important to not shut any doors. Where everyone thinks they're going to start off their career, you say, I want to be a fireman, I want to be a doctor, it can completely change. So start those conversations early, network, ask your parents what they wanted to be and see where they are now and how did they end up there. I am very happy in my career, but I never thought that as a dance and theater major, I would be recruiting for medical software. So that's just one of the many things, so try out a bunch of different opportunities. Explore internships, even if they're not in necessarily the area that you think you might be suited for, because that's really going to give you a lot of exposure as to what you like, what you don't like, and really finding your home and finding your career that you're passionate about.
Such a wonderful and really important message, Bryson. Yeah, thank you so much for that.
I'm a lead software developer for Meditech, and our development division is more project-based. So it's either enhancing existing products or creating new products. And our division, we're based on teams. So each project has a team that works on that, and it's made up of designers, developers, testers. And So every day we're going to start off with a scrum meeting, typically with our team, where we discuss what we're working on, what we're planning to work on, update on any timelines that we have, any deadlines that we need to meet. We might have a design discussion where everyone gets to have their input on what the new product should look like. And then after those meetings, I'll typically be coding my projects. I was just playing around with code and just making the designer's vision into reality, which is a lot of fun. I just get to solve puzzles all day. I could be peer reviewing someone else's project. We always make sure that we have a second set of eyes on it because someone might catch something that someone else didn't. I could be doing tech research for a future product, just seeing what other resources we might need or how much time I think it's going to take me to code something. I could also be demoing something that I just created either for upper management or for customers, which is really exciting to show off what we've been working on. And then also as a lead, I could be asked to code kind of the drop everything and fix it type of things. Anything that's regulatory related or COVID related, obviously we needed to drop everything and make sure it gets fixed. Anything that's patient safety related, I need to make sure that that's coded usually within a day. And then I'm also responsible for training and mentoring our new hires, which is something that I really enjoy doing. And in development, our hours are really flexible since we're not directly supporting the customers. So once we started working from home, I shifted my hours. I can start working at 7 now. So it's pretty much roll out of bed and start working, which is nice. No commute on either end. I usually have my cat in my lap, which is nice. You might see her jump in and out of frame every once in a while. And then being home, it's been a lot different. Obviously, we miss having that daily interaction, sitting with our coworkers. We don't have cubicles at Meditech. It's very open, so it's a nice community feeling. So we've tried to do virtual water cooler events where we just hop on a Zoom meeting and talk about non-work stuff. We've done game nights, just virtual game nights. We do virtual lunches just to try to stay connected with each other, which is nice. Very different than in the office, but we made it work. So I was actually a math major in college. I didn't really think I was going to go the computer route. And then I ended up just taking one computer science class my senior year and loved it. And Meditech was a perfect position for me. It's a proprietary language, so it's not a language that you can learn outside of school. It's something that they teach at Meditech. But having a base in something like C++ or C++ or Java, any of those higher level computing languages would definitely help just getting the logic, because it's basically just learning a set of rules and using those rules. So that was definitely helpful for me. And Meditech really encourages you to move around. I actually started in our client services division as a tech specialist. So I just delivered code changes. And then I became a programmer in client services, then a supervisor. And now I'm in our development division. So definitely moving around. I've had a lot of different roles here. So
any advice for high school students who might be interested in pursuing a career similar to yours?
Play around with different code sets. I mean, there are online forums you can join, just talking about different coding languages, or YouTube forums. Even playing around that, like a Raspberry Pi computer system, just making fun things. Like I made a retro Pi of like a video game emulator for old school Nintendo, just playing around my off hours just for fun. So just being really excited about coding, solving problems. And my big thing was just making a difference, because there are a lot of obviously computer programming jobs you can get anywhere, but at Meditech, I really feel like I'm making a difference. And that was the big sway for me.
Laurel, do you mind just sharing a little bit about your career and your role at Meditech?
My career path has been a little circuitous. Like Bryson, I started out as a dance major and figured out along the way that I was not going to be able to really make a living at that. So I became a nurse. And I was a labor and delivery nurse for 29 years, and then decided to make a change to ambulatory. And then I came to Meditech, and my job responsibilities as a nursing specialist with Meditech is to support our lead marketing consultants with our nursing solutions. Very different than Caitlin or Ruben's responsibilities. I'm face forward to the company. So always doing a lot of communication with our customers, with our prospects. When I first started and we were traveling, my job consisted about 50% of travel to our area, which I really enjoy after having been in one hospital for 29 years and not going anywhere. I mean, a good travel day was getting to the cafeteria. My career as a nurse has helped me a lot with communication. When you're in sales and marketing, you have to be a good communicator. You have to be able to listen well. This is really important. What's the old saying? You have two ears and one mouth. So you should listen a lot and speak less. And be honest with your customers. Make sure that if you don't know something, that you can absolutely find them an answer, whether you know it or not. Never try to tell people information that may or may not be true.
Any type of advice for high school students who just might have an interest but might not know where to start, or might not know where to make some progress towards that goal?
Well, as a nurse, you obviously have to have a lot of interest in the sciences, and STEM education is really important for that. For marketing, you want to develop a broad interest, lots of interest, because you're going to have to speak to our customers and prospects on a variety of things, not just about our product, but you need to develop relationships. So in order to have this wide communication ability is really important, to be able to talk to customers about anything. It's not just about our products, you're developing relationships.
Thank you so much for that. And Ruben, over to you. Ruben, do you mind sharing a little bit about what your role is, and also what your career looks like on a day-to-day basis?
My role's technically, it's called an implementation specialist. So we each have a different set of applications in which we support. So for me, I support the care management, quality management, risk management, and medical surveillance, otherwise known as surveillance products. So quite a lot of mouthfuls, but everyone within the client services support one of those, a different type of application. We even have some specialists and support specialists who work with the lab application, similar to how Caitlin helps with the development for that. So my typical day-to-day, pre-COVID, I would spend roughly 50 to 75% of my month actually, or year as a total, on the road. So I'd be going to the different hospitals, helping them build, set up, maintain, and troubleshoot the software, so that once they go into service, once they go into the second half, that they have the tools that they need to kind of keep going from where they start. So I'd be gone for roughly a week at a time, depending on how many sites that I have for that quarter. And when I'm back in the office, I'd be working on some of the troubleshooting issues. So something similar to most IT positions, help desk positions, which is what most people will kind of like be more familiar with in terms of trying to translate that over. You get a ticket or an issue, and we work with the customer to kind of resolve it. Sometimes we have to work with another application specialist to resolve the issue. Sometimes we need to work with programming or development. So we really kind of need to talk to a lot of people at times to really get something done. So occasionally you might have an issue that could be a day, where it'd feel like, okay, let me just call this person, say this is what you need to do, finished. Or sometimes you'll have an issue where I have a problem right now where I'm working with development, I'm working with my programmers, and I'm working with another specialist actually. So 4 different parties trying to get this one particular issue resolved. And luckily for us, we have a patch coming up soon that will fix everything. So it's just a matter of being a little bit flexible. When we're done or have it mostly kind of under control, we work to kind of create training materials or webinars for our customers, so that way they can go online, have that as reference. So there's a little bit of versatility with that. So we can work with a lot of different people, work internally within our group. So my day-to-day ultimately boils down to, am I training somebody or am I solving a problem? And if I'm solving a problem, who do I got to talk with? So I, like most of us on the call already, have had a very kind of like non-traditional path to getting to work. And I've noticed that actually for most of my family and friends, no one really goes into something and ends up going into doing that in regards to the career. So originally I signed up for mechanical engineering for college. Then I switched last minute to neuroscience psychology, and then went into university with psychology and sociology, graduated with that degree. Ended up realizing the beginning of my senior year that I wanted to actually do IT and comp sci. But I was already in the last stretch. I was just like, all right, I'll just keep the course and I'll figure things out. And I had a lot of good family friends who kind of helped me out with that. And I then went into working with a local clinic out in Boston, and I had a chance to give back. So I'd done a lot of community service while being in high school. That gave me the chance to meet a lot of different people, see a lot of different jobs. And while I was there, I found myself working with more of the IT people there. So I was working with the providers, with the nurses. My role was as a quality and risk manager within the care team. So actually ended up becoming a really nice fit for me to go into the application that I have. Thank you, Bryson. But yeah, so like it was, I knew what I already kind of liked. It was hard. IT was very hard for me initially. And I was just like, okay, I'm learning to explain to the IT group what we need. I would sit with them in the clinic and kind of work out an issue, and I realized I like this. I want to do this as a job, but I also want to give back. I want to keep working with medicine, working with people within that industry. So I looked for that company. I looked for Meditech, other companies like that, found my way here, which is awesome. But it was sort of like I learned as I kept doing. I was like, okay, I don't really like this. I did initially what I felt was easy, which was psychology. Don't do what is easy. Do what really makes you happy, even if it's hard. Because it's much more fulfilling once you kind of pursue that and actually get a chance to like be like, okay, I worked really hard at this, and you get that sense of mastery from it. So that's sort of what I would recommend. If you have talent, great, pursue that. But if you really want to do something, develop that skill and really kind of pursue it. So that was kind of like my career path as a form of saying. So.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ruben. That's so excellent. And I'll note too, because each of you have mentioned this, in how you all, see your roles, and then Meditech on the whole, of you're doing important work, and that matters, right? And I think particularly right now, we're all seeing how important work in the healthcare field is, not just locally, nationally, but around the world.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's really just important that each of you, have really mentioned that. And part of what makes your individual roles enjoyable and your work collectively at Meditech enjoyable is that it is important work, and you all feel that. For high school students listening, watching this video, they're nodding their heads that they're excited to do something similar. Any additional kind of advice that you might have for them?
Yeah, so oddly enough, I came in with 3 different bits of advice going into this to try and keep it nice and concise. The first one is just present yourself well. No matter where you go, you want to make sure that you're ready to make that first impression, so that, if you might meet someone at the airport, which has happened to me a couple times, where I've just been able to have a really good conversation and learn some things I was able to take back to the company. So you do that every day, whether it be like dressing like this, or more so just dressing comfortable, dressing in a way that you can present yourself confidently, be comfortable in your own skin, because that really does make a difference in terms of the long run. The second one is being prepared. If I have my notes down ready for this kind of panel right here, knowing that I wanted to go into this, knowing what I wanted to say, knowing what I wanted to share, and when you're able to go into any interaction, just between friends, going into like kind of like meeting up with somebody, or going into a meeting being like, hey, let's talk about this, or hey, I want to talk, get your mind, like kind of like just have something in mind, have a goal, and being able to be prepared to talk about that goal. Which brings us into number 3. So we've talked a lot about communication. What does that mean? So for me, I was trying to break it down into what's usable about that. So with working in implementation, I've had to communicate verbally and visually really complex technical things to both people who are more technical and people who are not so technical. And being able to communicate and translate what I mean to say to different people is important. I have to read the room. I have to be able to say, okay, this person doesn't seem to really understand what I'm saying. Help me understand what's causing the problem. Let me understand how to better communicate with you. Because communication is very broad, but in order to really make that connection, you really need to understand how best you can communicate concepts to them, but also how you can pivot and understand how to have them tell you what they need in order for you to communicate better with them. So that's more or less my 3 bits of advice.
Yeah, no, thank you, Ruben. Those were outstanding. It's a really nice wrap up to our conversation as well. And so Bryson, Caitlin, Laurel, and Ruben, thank you all so much for joining us today, for sharing about your careers for sharing about the important work that Meditech is doing at this really important time. And also just for your wonderful advice for the high school students watching. We heard so many important things around the importance of education, around the ability for everyone to be on their unique career path. And I think as well, really notably, you know, the importance of finding your passion and being engaged in important work and in work that you feel, and everyone makes this determination themselves, but the work that you feel matters and is important. And so, so many great pieces of information. It's wonderful that our community has a great company like Meditech in it. And we really appreciate you all taking the time to share these thoughts today. And so thank you all so much. And we hope all of the high school students watching this video gain a lot of information from it. So thank you all so much.